Hey everyone, welcome back to the Charlie Hewitt Experience. I'm your host, Charlie Hewitt, and something new we're going to be doing on the podcast today is the daily quote of the day, which is daily of the day, which now that I say it sounds more redundant than necessary. Anywho, uh, there is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self. That is a quote from a movie called Kingsman Secret Service, which is kind of funny. It's a sci-fi movie, but anyway, on the podcast today, we have one of my fellow friends, Finn Doherty, on the show. Hey, Finn.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How was your snow day?
It was excellent. Just chilling out. Kind of wish I had played in the snow a little bit. I was
Mm-hmm.
thinking about that in poetry. This might be my last snow day ever,
I
and
know
I
that
didn't even
that's
play in the snow. I was pretty disappointed about that.
that's kind of sad to think
I
about.
know.
That that's our last snow day.
I know exactly.
I
I
mean,
mean, you'll
yeah,
probably have a couple.
yeah,
You,
in
Penn.
college,
Yeah.
but in
I,
North Carolina,
you never know. I might never have one again.
I,
I know. It's
um,
pretty sad.
yeah, but I definitely feel like that playing in the snow when we were kids was definitely fun, like going sledding,
I
just
know.
like,
Such good
yeah.
memories. It's just so
And
wholesome.
now we're in high school,
I know.
and then there's a snow day. We just
Yeah.
sit at home, do play Fortnite or whatever. Well, that's what I did. Played Fortnite with Zoc, the exec producer. Um, yeah. So, did you watch any movie or anything, or any movies, TV?
um, Honestly, I can't even really think about what. Oh, we watched Bohemian Rhapsody. I still
Ooh,
hadn't seen that. I'm
really?
huge Queen fan, and I
Me
hadn't
too.
seen it until just yesterday. So that was good. It was a
Yeah.
good use of the day.
I
It was
saw that film
sad,
twice. It was very sad.
really sad,
Um,
but awesome though.
yeah. No, it was a really great
Ending with
movie.
Live Aid was pretty sweet too. Can't get
I
better than
on
that.
YouTube there are like videos of putting the stuff side by side of the actual Live Aid versus the movie
Uh
Live
huh.
Aid, and it's like really
It's
good.
so because with
It's
like
really
they have the
exact.
same number of cups and everything on the
Hmm.
piano, right?
Yep, and
Yeah,
like the
that's
Pepsi
awesome.
cups, the beer
Yep.
cups. Really cool. What's your favorite Queen song?
Favorite Queen song? All right, so that's tough because
Yeah.
like Bohemian Rhapsody is just so classic.
Uh huh.
Don't Stop Me Now is
Don't.
absolute banger.
Yeah, that's a banger.
Just like so good.
Hmm.
And so I probably would think along that line. Don't Stop Me Now.
Okay.
But there's really
Yeah.
underrated ones like Radio Gaga.
Hmm.
So good.
All
It's
you
in
hear is
yeah,
radio. Yeah.
exactly. That's rated in Live Aid as well.
Hmm. I also like Love of My Life. If you've ever heard of
Yeah,
that
that's
one.
another underrated. I hadn't honestly heard that one before watching the movie.
Hmm.
That was good.
Yeah, I also never knew he wrote it about. Like he wrote it about
About
his
his
girl,
wife.
about his wife at the time,
Right,
even though he was a homosexual.
right. And so in the
Which is pretty
movie,
interesting.
because she like asked him, she's like, "I know you didn't write that about me,
Yeah,
because most likely you wrote it about a woman.
yeah.
I mean, about a man."
Yeah. Um, so yeah, that was very interesting. Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody's good. I used to listen to that all the time as a child. Like my dad always used to turn it on and just blast it.
Yeah.
Like there are just those songs that your dad just turns the
Oh,
volume
so
all
good.
the
For me,
way
it was
up.
my mom, but
Yep.
yeah, same thing. Same thing.
Um, but yeah. So one of my first memories of you is when we were on JV baseball together,
Of course.
and
Those
that's
are
kind
good
of
memories.
yeah. So I didn't really know you, but from Borndale or anything, because I was kind of like an awkward kid who was just like hanging out in the corner. Um, but yeah, JV baseball.
So good.
It was so
Billy
much fun.
O'Dwyer, Kenneth Burke. Doesn't
Hmm.
get better than it.
And I think one of the biggest mistakes that I made was I did track last year
Yeah.
instead of JV
I
baseball.
had such a good time on JV baseball last year.
Yeah.
I decided this year I couldn't do it again. It was just too sad.
Oh, I know.
To to be on JV baseball as a senior. So
Well,
I'm not doing it this year.
well, I don't know. Can seniors do it? Can seniors be on JV?
I think seniors can't be on thirds, but they can be on JV.
Oh, okay. Okay, I never knew
I
that.
can think of a couple of
Um,
examples.
what was your favorite moment about JV baseball?
Favorite moment of JV baseball. That's so tough. I think honestly, oh, I actually do have a favorite one, and it's kind of a bad one.
Yeah.
But I think it was sophomore year, maybe junior year. Mr. O'Dwyer refused to put me like anywhere lower than like third in the lineup. Even
Yeah.
though literally for the first 11 at bats, I had 0 hits, and like, he just wouldn't move me down. And I appreciated that from Billy O.
Yeah.
It means a lot to me. The faith there. But,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm. I always loved how he would try to hit a home run, and he hit one home run, and he would never stop talking
Yeah.
about it.
The whole time. I
Never.
love it.
And I love how he like was practically on the pitcher's mound when he hit it. The wind was blowing in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I love situations. I
Oh,
forgot about situations.
yeah, situations.
So good.
If you guys don't know about what situations are, it's basically that Mr. O'Dwyer puts people on base and he says, "Oh, there's one out," and you have to remember. And if you don't remember, and he asks you, "Oh, how many outs are there?"
Yep.
And if you get them wrong, then you run what is it called, a lap?
Fence lap.
A
Yeah.
fence lap.
You have more than half the team running sometimes.
Yep,
It's
and it is
classic.
horrifying. It is not fun.
There's mind games in it and everything. It's awesome.
Mind games. Interesting you bring up games, Finn.
Yeah, fun and games.
Fun and games. We'll
Always
get to that
fun
later.
games.
Stay tuned. Um, so, something that you did over this summer was you were a sailing instructor in the Cape.
I was on it's in Situate.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who did you teach how to sail? Did little kids?
Yeah, so I taught. It was kind of a funny dichotomy because in the morning I would teach the youngest kids in the whole program. That was 7-year-olds who had never stepped in a boat before.
Yeah.
Which was pretty fun. There's definitely some funny stories that come out of that. Kids just refusing to steer their boat even though they're hitting $2 million boats and just saying that they refuse to touch the tiller because they're hungry.
Because they're hungry.
So they can't sail. But then
works.
in the afternoons, I
That
taught
works.
14 and 15-year-olds who were the oldest kids in the programs, and that was for a race team.
Okay.
So it was kind of fun to have both of those sides there.
That's pretty cool.
Working with young kids. And
Yeah.
also the older who you can connect with a little bit better.
And what were your biggest frustrations? I assume it was with the little kids.
Yeah, it was
but-
for sure with the little kids. Getting them to stop hitting each other,
Hit
both
each
with their boats and with their hands. And yeah, but
That's fun.
at the same time, I mean, I think that also that made it really, really fun because at some point you kind of step back and realize how funny it is if you're not the one who has to deal with it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I feel like that was kind of like the situation at Borndale too when we went there
absolutely.
as seniors, and we're just like, oh my god, we're gonna have so much fun as seniors. But then you actually go and you're like, holy crap, I have to be in charge of 12 kids.
Exactly, and you're in your cabin trying to get them to stop talking about
"Shut
things
up,
they
go to
should not
bed."
talk about.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, I have some good stories that I can
Absolutely.
say. I
yeah,
can't
me
say.
too. Yeah,
Something else that you did is that you played Gaston in Beauty and the
I
Beast.
did.
And can you talk about the preparation for that role? Did you mentally inflate your ego so high up to play Gaston?
All right, yeah. So I mean, going into that audition, even I was just like, I want to just audition for a play so I can say I did it once. Didn't
Okay.
expect anything, but then I got it and I was scared out of my mind.
Yeah.
But in the end, I ended up having a really, really fun time. And I mean, like you said, I definitely had to get into that mindset, and something that helped me there, but I also hated it was that I would have this black wig and black eyebrows
Yeah.
and everything, and I
Yeah.
hated that more than anything in the entire world. But I mean, it was what it was. So
Yeah. And I thought you did a great job. It was kind of fun because I never even knew that you were into theater, and so
well,
cool.
I wouldn't say that I quite am, but
No.
I mean, I enjoyed it and I had a really fun time, and I definitely learned a lot. It was a bunch of stuff that I had never experienced before, but at the same time, yeah.
it's cool. You've also been on community council since freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it like being a part of the terrible bureaucracy in student government?
Yeah. I mean, I love it. It's we'll call it a terrible bureaucracy. No, I mean, I really enjoy it. I like it since freshman year. It's been one of my favorite 45-ish minutes of the week. All the time. Just because it's always a good group of kids. Even if people think we don't get anything done, we're usually at least trying. Working on Mr. Thayer a lot
Yep.
right now. And so just stuff like that and being able to put stuff like that together and then kind of seeing how it works out. Even stuff with Candygrams. I think that's been a lot of fun for me over the last
Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that community council doesn't try. I'm just saying it's extremely ineffective.
I-
But
I
just
won't-
kidding,
I
I'm
won't
just
give my
kidding.
opinion either.
I'm just kidding. I do think community council does do a good job. I'm just saying that because I am a Republican that hates government in general.
Of course.
So
Bureaucracy. Especially.
bureaucracy.
Yep.
So college, you're going to Duke University in
I
North
am.
Carolina. Congratulations.
Thank you. Congrats
Um,
on UPenn as well.
Thank you. And so at Duke, what do you think your career path is going to be? Like what are you hoping to study there and stuff like
Yeah.
that?
I mean, I applied in for a major called environmental science and policy.
Mm-hmm.
So they have an environmental science major, but they also have this separate major, which a lot of schools don't have, which like is the policy aspect of that. So you
Okay.
still take the environmental science courses, but then it's kind of more focusing on how you can apply that in the real world, how you can make policy change. And for me, that was pretty cool because I've always loved politics and everything.
Yep.
Always been very into that, and recently I've started to like science as well, and so I found that as a cool way to kind of mix those two things. But at the end of the day, I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do with my life, and
Okay.
I doubt that I'll actually end up majoring in what I planned to major
Okay.
in. I just don't really see that as the way it's going to work out for me, but I mean, I'm excited to find out.
Yeah.
so.
I feel like it's really difficult for people to truly know what they're going to do in life. I mean,
Right.
unless you've had this dream of being somebody since you're like a little kid.
Exactly. Like some people just always want to be a doctor. I think
yeah.
that's one of the big ones for people to
Yeah.
know what they want to do.
Doctor, lawyer, like neurosurgeon, like
right. Exactly.
yeah, stuff like that. Something else that we have coming up that you kind of mentioned about community council is that Mr. Thayer is coming up. And what do you think your odds are to win?
What do I think my odds are?
So I believe there are 13 contestants. How many contestants are there? There's 15 contestants.
Yeah, 13, 14, 15.
13
somewhere in
around
there.
there, but not all of them are doing a talent.
Exactly.
So I would say maybe 10, 12.
Yeah, yeah,
that
and
range.
and only 8 will get through to the talent round.
Right.
It might be around there in terms of people who actually have talents.
What do you think odds?
I'll start off by saying I'm predicting my winner now. You heard it here first on the Charlie Hewitt
Yes.
Experience. Evan Butler wins Mr. Thayer.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
Why? Explain.
Okay. I'll explain. He has, I don't know if I'm allowed to say his talent. He has an excellent talent.
Okay.
Okay. He'll come up with, well, maybe he'll come up with a funny response to the questions. I think he will. I have faith in Evan. He's a funny guy. And I mean, even if he's missing some of the moves in the group dance, he's going to be trying the hardest. And so I just see
Okay.
him as a clear winner.
Okay.
I'm scared of you. I think
Me?
yes, I think you have a good chance.
Why?
And then why?
Yeah, why?
Because
You don't even know my talent.
Huh?
You don't even know my talent.
I don't know your talent, but I'm sure it'll be good. And at the end as well, same kind of similar thing as Evan, you're gonna try harder than anyone. So, and I think that's a big important thing.
Okay.
And then my sleeper pick,
Sleeper.
Owen Drometer.
Andrometer. Okay. Heard it here first. Bet your
Because
money
I
on
don't know
Owen.
what his talent is, but he won't tell anyone.
Low stakes. Oh wait, no. High stakes. Big money return.
Exactly. So I'm thinking Owen Drometer's my sleeper.
Okay.
Evan Butler's my favorite.
All right.
And as for myself, I don't think I'm gonna win, but I think I'm gonna have a great time.
You have to put odds on it. You are betting on yourself. What are the percent chances?
I'd say that I have a 15% chance.
Okay. I think that's bull. I think that's fair. I feel like everybody has that around that
Around there,
range.
Yeah.
Okay. So we only have a couple more minutes left on the question section before we start hard-hitting questions.
Excellent.
But for now, we're going to the Bahamas on Saturday, or Friday maybe for you,
Yeah.
depending.
I'm going on Saturday.
Okay, Saturday.
Math test on Friday, Charlie.
That's right. I know we can't skip that.
Yeah.
So are you excited?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
And do you burn
Uh,
or do you tan?
You're asking a different question. now.
Oh, okay.
I do burn very badly.
Okay.
Yeah, I tend to get pretty bad sunburns. I started to worry about that a lot today. Like, I'm either going to need to buy a ton of sunscreen there, but I feel like that's going to be super expensive.
Yeah, it's gonna be expensive.
But I don't think you can travel with aerosol, and I'm a big aerosol guy.
You don't
Like
use the lotion.
spray sunscreen.
You don't use the lotion.
Yeah, I'm big on that because otherwise I miss places, and if I miss a place on myself, then it's like just that place is
Well, you know what?
dark red.
You know what? You have Kate to put it on your back, so that'll be fine.
Oh boy. Anyway, so I might have to buy the aerosol in the Bahamas, but I feel like that's gonna be marked up a lot. But so we'll see how
I'm
that
sorry,
turns out.
Kate. She's flicking
Hopefully, I won't come back as a lobster, but we'll have
Okay.
to see.
Okay. Embarrassment on the Charlie Hewitt Experience. Anyway, so we're
all
gonna
good.
play a game that we played with Kate
Excellent.
on Kate's episode.
Okay.
It's called Kiss or Diss,
Okay.
otherwise known as Smash or Pass.
Right.
But on the Charlie
But
Hewitt Experience, we are
it's a
PG.
family show here.
Family show.
Yeah.
So Tom Brady, Kiss or Diss.
Kiss.
There's
Did
not
you hear any hesitation there?
No hesitation.
I mean, if he can kiss his sons.
Yes, I agree. You know what? I agree. You know what? If he kisses his son for more than like 4 seconds,
Yeah, we're not talking about a more than 4 seconds thing.
Tom Brady though.
Not for me.
Okay.
Maybe for you, Charlie. But,
Maybe for me.
I mean, if the alternative is
beautiful man.
diss, I'm never gonna
Yeah.
diss Charlie or Tom Brady. So
Also, Summer Rae,
Summer Rae.
Instagram model.
I mean, not too familiar to be honest.
Zach, show the photo. We'll come back to Summer Rae. Next, we're gonna go to Taylor Swift.
Oh, obvious kiss.
Kiss her dead. Okay, kiss.
Yeah, everyone knows that. That's my celebrity crush.
I mean, she's just kind of too much of a pole for me.
What do you
Just-
mean?
Like you look at her and she's
Oh,
like,
too skinny, or just too like I got you.
I don't know.
I understand you. I understand you. No, no, it's a definite kiss for me.
Okay.
Absolutely, my celebrity crush.
Fair
Has
enough.
been for a long time.
kiss or diss, Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. I'm gonna go with this.
Ooh,
Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't seem worth it to me.
I mean,
I don't
gorgeous man.
I don't have any particular reasons to kiss him,
I mean,
and so I'd rather just diss him.
once he gets in that Deadpool costume, it's just like, damn.
So I
pretty
take
hot.
it that's a kiss for you.
That's a kiss for me, obviously.
Okay,
man.
cool.
All right, so here we have a picture of Summer Rae. You know, if you can find an actual picture of her face in the Instagram, I hope that you can judge her and say kiss or diss. But
Yeah, I mean,
she's
honestly,
very
like,
attractive.
not the most
woman.
an attractive person I've ever seen.
No.
For sure.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, like
A hug.
eh.
Ish.
Eh.
Ish.
Well,
All right.
I don't
Okay.
know.
And like a maybe in the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Mama June,
Mama June.
the mother of Honey Boo Boo?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yes. Who puts their child through that?
I don't know, but
I have so many things to
Mama
diss her
June,
on.
the 400-pound.
It has nothing to do with her appearance at all. It's just that woman. Like who puts their child through
Oh my gosh,
that?
Mama June! We're showing him
Like,
a photo
I
now.
have nothing. Like this is purely not about the kiss. It's about the diss. It's just like
Okay. Huh?
that poor child.
Oh, she actually did lose weight, so good for her.
I stand by because
I know
my
she
answer
just
is
and
not
also oh my god. Okay, Zach, you can stop showing us photos. Anywho, kiss or diss. This is the last one.
Okay.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Rosie O'Donnell.
Do you know who that is?
Isn't she really old now?
Oh, she's an old woman.
I don't know how much. Zach, can I get a picture? Can't even think of what she looks like.
Oh man, it is.
Oh.
What?
That is not at all what I was expecting.
Oh, were you thinking of like Martha Stewart or somebody?
No. I mean, like diss, but I don't have anything to diss her on. But
Oh yeah, I'm
guess
dissing her.
I guess we'll go diss.
All right. Okay, now we're going to get into more of the philosophy aspect of the podcast because this week
Excellent.
is going to be kind of the two podcasts that I have planned are going to be kind of be focused on that conspiracy
Excellent.
and
How I feel about that.
stuff. So you created the website Fun and Games and Conspiracy 2,
We
which has
did.
been sponsoring the Charlie Hewitt Experience since the second podcast,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
So what led you to create this website?
So, actually, it all comes down to the class Voice. So Tim and I were sitting. Tim Kemp.
Yep. Shout out to Tim Kemp,
Co-founder.
co-founder. Okay.
He and I were sitting in Voice, and we just decided one day that we needed a place where we could put everything we wanted to put, all the fun and games we wanted to talk about, and all the conspiracies too. And we decided that we needed somewhere to talk about all of those, that we wouldn't that we'd actually be able to talk about them,
Right.
because like Voice is awesome and everything, but you can't. I mean, you can't talk about everything you want to talk about there.
Yeah.
And so we decided to create this all-inclusive experience for the internet called Fun and Games and Conspiracies 2. Check it out, funandgamesand.com. We haven't posted in a while, but we're really trying.
You're trying. It's the effort that counts.
Yeah. There's some great articles in there earlier.
Okay.
Some holiday-themed ones, but yeah.
All right, so I think we're going to shift our focus to the conspiracies and
Excellent.
stuff now. So something that has been being put forth from conspiracy theorists is that, or not really conspiracy theorists, just people that want to dig deeper into the meaning of what happens after you die and stuff like that, that there's this chemical in your brain that supposedly when you die, it unlocks your brain. It's called DMT.
Okay.
And basically it allows you to see interdimensional aliens, as Alex Jones puts it,
Wow.
and as our executive producer Zach loves to say. And
Interesting.
so I'm just curious what your beliefs are. What really happens when you die?
So I've heard that one of the things I've heard is right after you die, in like the 7 minutes after you die, your
Mhm.
brain's still active. Obviously, that's not true if you like shot in the head.
Yeah, yeah.
But your brain's still active, and there's just so much chemical releases that I've heard that you live out your entire life in those 7 minutes, and so like, and so all of those like come through as like so like when you almost die and your life flashes before
Yep.
your eyes, that's kind of like a sneak peek. That's what I've
Okay.
heard, and honestly, I don't hate that theory. I could see that happening chemically, and I mean I don't know how people would know it.
Right.
That's true with all of these things,
Yeah.
though. There's not a whole lot of ways to test without dying yourself, but I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because especially because I think since it's something like, even though it's only 7 minutes, it feels way longer, and so being able to relive it would be kind of cool. But also, I feel like it would be a little trapping, because this time you can't make the decisions for yourself. But it also raises the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, I've also heard theories about this that if you're reliving your life, what means that we're not reliving our lives right now? So
Exactly,
we
and
have
that's
this
what I was just
false
about to
so
say.
we have this false sense of
Free will.
free will where
Yeah.
we don't really it's already like come before us, and I think that's called Calvinism.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, and so like if we're reliving our entire life right now, like I'm not deciding to say this right
No.
now. Was already decided, but I'm experiencing it as
Right.
if I am. It's a little
that-
freaky, but I
that
mean,
yeah.
at least in that theory, we made the decisions in the first place, like the first time around. So maybe there's not free will this time, but it originates from free will. Whereas
Right,
a
but that
complete
begs the
lack of
question.
free will,
Right.
someone up there is deciding it.
But that also begs the question, if we do have free will at one instance in time, what started that first time?
What do you mean?
It's like kind of like with the Big Bang Theory, who
Right.
started
I
the
will
universe?
never
Like who
understand the
started? Like if this theory is true, like who started our lives?
Yeah, and that's I mean, we're all just stardust in some sense
Right.
from the Big Bang, and that's what I'll truly never understand because we
Yeah.
don't know what conscience is.
Nobody's gonna understand.
so,
what that type of
Because
stuff is.
like, is conscience free will, or is conscience just the human adapted, like the way we've evolved as humans to best survive? Is that like is that just an evolutionary thing where sure ants and stuff don't have, like, maybe they don't have conscience, we don't know, but are we just more evolutionarily like advantageous because we can, like, we're conscious? Is it nothing more than that? And so
I mean, I guess, but
Yeah.
I feel like I see where you're coming from, but I don't think I can. I feel like like dogs and,
Yep.
and other animals like that. I feel like they definitely do have conscience.
I agree absolutely.
Because there are always these stories of like the dog jumping in front of you, in front of like
Yeah.
the car or stuff like that.
For sure.
And so I don't think that's like a animal instinct. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
um,
and so that's
yeah.
what makes it interesting is we don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest questions in life is like, what really is a conscience? Do we have a soul? Do we have
Right.
a spirit or something?
Right, and
Um,
that's what makes it so weird, is because like you would think that if conscience didn't have a soul or anything, it would all be up here, but you feel it like all up in your head, but you feel it in your chest as
I
well.
do.
And so
Yeah.
I don't know, the question of whether or not we have a soul, like scientifically you say no, but then at the same time, like,
But then you think
not
about it,
everything's science.
I feel like for me, a lot of the times when I think about these these deep questions, I always grapple with science and
Yeah,
and
exactly.
in
Me
my
too.
Judaism,
Right.
because I usually I look to the Torah for answers a lot. Like I mean I don't have a Torah at my house, but like I'll just Google like, oh,
Right.
like what did this person do in this situation.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, I trust that, I read it, I believe in it, but at the same time I look at science, and the Earth did not start
Exactly.
with 7 days.
Yeah, exactly. Like that whole part, and for the in Catholicism, that's all just like the like the first half of the Bible, essentially. I'm blanking on what that's called, and that's embarrassing, but whatever.
That's fine.
But and so the Torah is all that. And exactly. So like when I was in middle school, I started, because going into probably like 7th grade, I was completely religious, not like annoyingly so, but just like completely believed in Catholicism and all of that. And then kind of going into 7th grade, I started to, when I would hear those things in church and read them in the Bible and stuff, I would kind of just think like, I don't, like as you said, the earth wasn't created in 7
Yeah.
days. That's a fact.
Yes, it is a
God
fact.
didn't place
No.
people on earth because it was too empty.
I feel like something that I'm thinking of that kind of like mashes my religion and God in the Bible together is, or science and my religion together, is thinking that maybe the 7 days weren't 7 days for the humans, but 7 days for God,
Right.
if that makes sense at all. Because maybe 7 days was, I don't know, like, I don't know how long our universe, how old our universe is, but maybe like 7 billion years.
Yeah.
And so when he put humans on, I'm putting air quotes around it. Maybe it was like the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, and he was like, and that was technically like Noah's Ark. I don't know.
Right.
But like I always try and I always try to find ways in which the my Judaism and science come together.
Right.
And it 9 times out of 10 it doesn't come together. But like I always try to piece stuff
Right.
because I feel like believing in something is very hopeful for me about
Yeah.
about like that there's someone watching over me,
Mhm.
that my life does have meaning. I feel like everybody's life does have meaning whether or not
I
you
agree
believe in
with that,
God or not.
Yeah, even if everything is science,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean by that, it's completely secular. I still believe that life has meaning and you have a purpose
Yeah.
to be here.
Definitely.
But yeah, and I think like one of the things I grapple with the most is like if like honestly for me, like at this point my beliefs kind of end at like I don't know what started everything, and so for me I think that's still God. I don't know what exactly that means.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a person in the sky with a beard,
Right.
but like even like what initiated the Big Bang, I don't know.
Yeah.
So-
I've also read a couple things by Stephen Hawking about that kind of stuff, and that he said that it doesn't matter what happened before the Big Bang because there was no notion of time before the Big Bang, which I think is kind of BS.
Right.
Because I feel like there's always been time.
Yeah.
And so I feel like once our universe is created, that's what started time. I feel like that's kind of like a false statement because that's like saying history started on 17 like 89 when the Constitution was ratified.
Yeah,
So it's like I don't know about that, but
I agree with that.
I do definitely think that though is that definitely something started the universe and whatever that is was there and probably created the laws that govern us in the universe because I don't feel like a universe could just happen without any laws.
Yeah,
You know
and
what
like
I mean?
and like maybe it can, and
Maybe.
I just don't know, and yeah, it's tough.
And so when you read the Bible, how do you interpret certain things? Like because a lot of people interpret it very very literally,
Yeah,
but a lot of people just say that it's metaphorical and that they're just lessons.
I think that I'll tell a story which hopefully won't offend any Catholics, but the moment I have a specific memory of when I kind of just started to think like there's no way that any of this is literal. There's like
Yeah.
and that was I was in CCD, which is like Sunday school, in probably I think it was like the year before I got confirmed, and we were talking about like if you could go back to any time in history, when would you go back to? And it was my CCD teacher said when Moses parted the Red Sea. She was like, I think that would have just been unbelievable to watch him just part the sea and have two walls of water.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking that just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, and I think you can still think that, like, have that thought and still believe in God, still believe in a purpose, and still believe in the purpose of the Bible even.
Yep.
Because I think it's, as you said, it's a lot more about, for me, about, like, taking those lessons. Like, if you, not all of them, because obviously there's, like, think parts in the Bible about how sodomy is illegal, how like owning a slave is okay.
Right.
So
Which is
not all of the Bible should be interpreted even like figuratively. However, a lot of it and most of it, especially the stuff at least for me that Jesus did, I think if you try to live by a little bit like those, then you're just going to be a good person.
Yeah.
And I think it's an excellent way to live for people of any religion.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I don't think it has to be this big literal meaning of religion.
And I agree with you entirely. Like I don't yeah, like Moses parting the Red Sea is a really good example. About that, because I feel like it's not so much about him parting the sea as it's so much to like him protecting
Right,
an
he's
entire
a leader and
Yeah.
protecting those people.
So yeah, definitely. So yeah, do you have anything else to say about any conspiracies that are on your mind?
Any conspiracies on my mind? Dunny Mannion
Yes.
recently brought up to me, and this one's kind of a joke one, but you never know.
Is it fluoride makes the frogs gay?
It's not. It's
Okay.
not. He has a belief that we're all in the gulag, and we just don't know it.
We're all in a gulag.
In the gulag, which is the camps that people were sent
Right,
to in the
Soviet
Soviet
Unions,
Union. Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that one. But,
So okay, so what's the reasoning behind it?
you know, I honestly haven't really understood a single word of his reasoning.
Okay.
I don't think he's given that much. But but at the same time, I mean, you just never know. And that's the thing with conspiracy theories is the best conspiracy theories can't be proven wrong. Like, for example, I'll give a little teaser for those of you who still want to check out funandgamesand.com.
Sponsored by funandgamesand.com.
Right. We have an excellent article up there about Santa Claus. Since we know Santa Claus is real, but no one's ever like really figured out his identity.
Okay.
Santa Claus is Karl Marx,
Okay.
and it's just
me your reasoning.
I can give you some reasoning. Okay, so way back in the day, I'm trying to think of when Karl Marx died, but it was around that time.
1800s, I believe.
Yeah, somewhere in there. And so Karl Marx didn't die. Karl Marx is immortal.
I actually agree with that statement.
He realized that, so he wrote the Communist Manifesto,
Yep.
and he said, it's good, we're going to get some success out of this, it's not what I need.
Some success. Are you
Yeah.
referring to Korea, North Korea,
Right,
Vietnam,
Soviet Union,
China,
exactly.
Soviet
So, like,
Union,
and-
Venezuela?
Right, and so
It
those,
just keeps going on.
and I'm sure Karl Marx was looking down from the North Pole and saying that, like, those were absolutely terrible examples of what he wanted to do. And so what he realized with all this failure is that he needed a different way. And so he went up to the North Pole.
Yes.
He took with him his followers.
Okay.
And so all of his followers, all of his communist followers who loved the communist.
Oh my God! And because they're impoverished, they're very short.
Well, I had a different theory here, but
Go ahead.
you might be
Go ahead.
completely right. It might be from malnutrition. My theory was he needed them to be immortal so that they could do his bidding, but they had to give something up to be immortal.
Their height.
And they gave up their height.
Interesting theory.
Hence the elves. And so for the rest of humanity, and from now on, Karl Marx was Santa. He grew out his long beard. He gained a couple extra pounds because he had elves cooking for him all the time. Mrs. Claus, I'm sorry, kids, doesn't exist.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's sad.
It was just a fantasy. It was just fantasy.
That one, that one's just not true.
No.
Um,
Get out of here.
but Karl Marx decided that he needed all these elves, and so from then on, he decided the best way that he could spread communist cheer is at Christmas time. If he just gave out, if he worked with his proletariat of elves, if he worked with them and just gave presents to everyone, then kids would grow up saying, wow, it's so amazing that we all get presents. The real world should be like this. Just handouts from above, from some amorphous thing, which would be Big Brother, Joseph Stalin, just any kind of communist leader.
From some omnipotent power.
Exactly, and so and that's the thing about communism is it works best if you view the giver as a god, and so that's what Karl Marx did. He's an immortal being.
All right.
Who just wants to spread communist cheer.
I like the conspiracy. I think it has some definite facts behind it. Nothing to prove against it. And something that we have from our executive producer Zach is a final little kind of, I don't really know what to call it,
Excellent.
but kind of just like a manifesto of some sorts.
Okay.
The government is taking psychedelic drugs to talk to interdimensional beings, aliens. And it started with the Nazis in the 1940s, which is why the Americans started Operation Paperclip. That was a mouthful. That was a mouthful.
Okay, so I don't know anything about Operation Paperclip.
Neither do I. It is a thing where Americans got Nazis and put them into the NASA, started the NASA space agency. Apparently, I disagree highly with that because I don't think I like Americans too much to think that they would hire Nazis as
Right.
their real scientists. My theory on it is that it's really just, Albert Einstein was in Germany at the
Yep,
time,
he was.
and he escaped and he went to America.
Mhm.
I feel like the scientist that they got was probably like him, except they didn't have time to leave as soon as Einstein in the 1930s before the
Right.
Third
So
Reich.
yeah, because there was a flood of scientists
Mhm.
and who left Germany and Europe as a whole because, for fear of Nazi takeover. Because a lot of that kind of stuff, science, especially unless it was nuclear, was kind of shoved down to the
Yep.
bottom along with art.
Exactly.
And so yeah, I mean, hey, you never know. So
I mean, it's a very interesting theory. But thank you, Finn, for coming on the podcast.
of
It was
course,
a
thank you
blast
so much
having
for
you.
having me.
And if you like the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. All right, I'll see you guys on Saturday.